everyone, and welcome back to Jesse Hecht Creative. Today we're going over the Mario movie figures versus the Sonic movie figures in the ultimate battle of which is best, determined by sculpt, paint, accessories, and articulation. All figures shown created by Jakks Pacific. Before we begin, make sure to hit that like button and smash that subscribe button. Now let's get to it. So let's start off with the fated rivals of Mario vs. Sonic. Nintendo versus Sega. Who will win? Let's find out. As far as sculpting goes for these figures, Mario has a lot of detail in him. I love the seam lines on him as well as the shoes, and the hair looks really nice. The mustache is good. The eyes are still creepy. The hat is great. I love the hat. It's really nicely done, and the gloves have some details in them. Mario's very detail oriented, where it's sort of broad everywhere until you get to the little details that sort of pop up left and right on the figure. Sonic, on the meanwhile, is very in your face and very upfront. He has a lot of detail in his body as well as the shoes and the gloves for his subtle details. The shoes even do have holes in the bottom as opposed to Mario, and I find that having functionality with your figure is better than not. So in this case, I think Sonic might be the winner. Same sculpt for this one too, by the way. I just thought I'd include it also as we will go down the line with all the figures for the Sonic and Mario figures so far. I don't think you need a 5-inch figure, an extra inch, to tell you what's what with your figure. Sonic is great at this size. I'm not sure why they did an extra inch for Mario, but Sonic wins this round. With 1 point for Sonic, we do turn to paint on the figures, and for me, it's somewhat of a toss-up. For Mario, we do have some nice paint on the top, going down to the paint on the little buttons over here, and it's painted not really that great on the color, on mine at least. It could be painted better. I think it's an entirely blue top body that they just painted red in the places they needed to. It doesn't really work that way and that well as far as painting red on other figures. There are some nice details with the little buttons everywhere that are nice, but not that great. The shoes are really cool though. I like them a lot. They have some nice painting on those, and it looks pretty nice. You don't really need it though, and it's fine, I guess. The shoes are painted, I believe, really well on the bottoms and look good. The eyes are still creepy, but they're painted nicely. Sonic, on the other hand, is painted really well. I do find that we have some nice paint going on with the chest as well as the eyes look really nice. You have some good eyes in this figure as well. The ears look good, and the chesting is different on them, which gives them a unique kind of thing on the figure. The bolts are really nice in this figure as well for electricity, and the shoes are painted very nicely on mine at least. There's a little scuff on this one. I'm not sure what happened over here, but it looks really great. I think they're painted a little bit better than Mario, who has a large block of just blue and red, where it's kind of a weird contrast with Sonic, but I think he's painted better, so I will give him the crown for the paint for this round. As far as accessories goes with these figures, I do find that even if you compared this plunger to the other two figures alone versus combined, it would still lose. You have some great functionality with this snowboard that can peg into Sonic's feet, connecting back to the sculpt of the figure. We also have these that can be held by Sonic, either in both hands or one hand at least for this, and that looks really great as far as that goes. The plunger sure could be held by Mario, but doesn't function, doesn't do anything. These have a better function, I think, than this piece. If he uses it a lot in the movie, I'll be probably proved wrong, but still, it does not suck onto anything, which is the primary function. That would be great if they included that, but alas, they didn't, so Sonic wins this round. As far as articulation goes for Sonic and Mario, I find that while these are still pretty good with the little swivels we have on this and the swivels we have on that, it's fine for me, I guess. I do think that in this case, the added engineering and height make this Mario better. It just has some better articulation, in my opinion, that works way better for this figure. I do find that it swivels really nicely, and we have double jointed elbows, by the way. We have a swivel on top as well as on bottom. I think I forgot to mention that in my review, but that puts it over the edge for this figure for me. It just is much better, I think, as well as some really nice articulation for the feet that work out really well and don't really impede anything. I wish that we had this kind of articulation with the 4-inch figures. That would be amazing. Maybe if they could retool it or something, but I do think that Mario wins the crown for articulation at the very least. So Sonic wins the crown for best figure in this case, but I wouldn't discount Mario, at least. If you like Mario, get him. That's fine. I'm cool with it. I do find that Sonic is the better figure, either one or both. They come with great accessories, great paint, and sculpt. I do find that Mario wins for the articulation, but for this round, Sonic takes the crown. Go Sonic, go. So next up, we have the player twos, the second in commands, Luigi and Tails. Let's see who wins first in second place. The sculpting is great on both of these figures, but I find that Luigi looks really nice. He has a good sculpt going on. I do find that he contrasts greatly with Mario. I do think that there are a lot of really nice details in him, as well as some good sculpting that I could actually see as opposed to the red. The green is much better in the sculpting department. I find that it looks really great. We have some nice little wrinkles in the arms, some good wrinkles in the hat once again, some great sculpting as far as the overalls go. I actually can see everything as far as this goes here, and it looks really nice. It's wonderfully done. Sculpting's great in the treads too, and the shoes. I think it's the same kind of thing, but it's wonderfully, masterfully done. That mustache is really great too. It's awesome. The hair is great, and I do think Luigi might be the winner in this case. Checking out Tails, there is a nice fur going along the entire body. Looks really good. The shoes are really good too. That's pretty nice. It's awesome. We have some really good fur, but I do think it's one big block of this kind of texture. They mixed it up a little bit on Sonic and made it a little bit different, whereas this one is just one big block of sort of cheese. This figure at least has the pilot helmet, but it's a pilot helmet. That doesn't really stop the figure from being, just one big block of cheese once again. I do find that Luigi takes the crown for the sculpting in this case. As far as paint goes, I do find that Luigi is really nicely done, even though those eyes are still creepy. He has a good color scheme, and he's better than Mario, but is he better than Tails? Let's find out. Tails has a really great eyes, especially on this one. They look wonderful and adorable. He captures that cute factor very nicely, and the little pig mouth is really cute. We also have the nice paint on the tails, at least, as well as the boots are really good. The feet are really cute, and it just looks wonderful with the little ears too are painted very well on him. I'm going to give this to Tails because you can't paint something cute as this. It's just impossible, and I did the impossible. Well done. As far as accessories goes, while I do like these, I don't really use them that much. Tails with the gun, really? This boomerang's pretty cool and nicely done. The paint is really good too. The backpack isn't really my favorite thing though. It just doesn't really fit on the figure. If it actually fit on the figure, that'd make it way better. This flashlight though reminds me a lot of Luigi's Mansion. It's really cool and very well done. It's like an industrial sort of construction work flashlight. Has some nice detailing to it, and even has Jakks specific and China, if you can even read it right there. That makes it kind of funny for me, and it puts it at number 1 for me. As far as accessories goes, Luigi wins. As far as your articulation goes, I'm gonna go right out the gate and say Luigi wins. He has some really nice double swivels, as well as the legs going out really far. The knees are really good. There's some great pivot over here. The head is awesome too. The articulation is wonderful on this figure, in much contrast to Tails, who, if you even think of doing this, it just doesn't really want to stand up. Same with this one. It's the same exact thing. The fact that they can't even stand on their own power makes the articulation somewhat worthless. It's fine, I guess, but all the added articulation to Luigi just makes him much better in comparison. I'm sorry, little buddy. Luigi wins this round. Luigi takes the crown in this case. I do find that he is a better figure overall. Sure, you get 2 tails, but if they can't even stand, what's the point of having 2 tails? The accessory may be just okay for them, and the paint is really nice, but Luigi kind of brings it home with, I think, everything else that really matters when it comes to action figures. Hello everyone, and thank you so much for watching so far. Make sure to click like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment. You can also click the bell icon for more creativity. Now let's get back to it. Now let's take a look at Toad and Knuckles, the little feisty red characters that can run fast. Yeah, that's all I got. So going over these little red dudes, Toad looks really great as far as the hat goes. It's seamless, basically. The face is wonderful and cute. It's a little Toad guy. The backpack is where he truly shines, though. It's very nicely done. There's a lot of stuff. You can't take it off, though, and that really bothers me, that all these things aren't accessories. If you could take them off, it would easily be a winner because you could store everything on his backpack. Speaking of backpack storage, I forgot to mention last time, you could put the frying pan in this pouch. I completely missed that this pouch existed last time, and you could put it right here and make it look great as far as the little accessory goes on the backpack. That's a really neat feature, but my issue with this is it really weighs him down, and that kind of sucks. It doesn't really work as well as I would want it to, and even then, by that logic, would you need the backpack? And even then, by that logic, he'd just be a regular old Toad. So, as far as this goes, I'm not really that pleased by it. This could be great for accessories. It hinders articulation and doesn't really live up to what it could be. So, in essence, Knuckles looks really great. I love little striations of the hair that goes down. He's not one big block of cheese, or at least one big block of the same kind of different, texture going on with his body. It's different on the hair, it's different on the head, it's different on the body itself, it's different on the arms going down. Every piece is neatly done. The shoes are phenomenal and look great. They're wonderful and butt-kicking. Look at those treads right there. Toad doesn't even have treads on his. Knuckles does. The knuckles look great too. The scale is amazing on him. Same with this one for everything. Ditto on that. I do find that in this case then, Knuckles wins by sheer virtue of having all of his stuff complement the figure and not everything else with the figure as far as different articulation and accessories goes. As far as the paint goes right out the gate, you can see that Toad has much more things going on with him. As much as I detest this backpack in a way, it really has some nice stuff going on with it. Really great little buttons and some really good features with the knapsack and the cup, as well as the little pickaxe here. The rope, I really love it a lot. The vest is even well done too, and this little like diaper sack thing, this little pants or whatever, are really great. I love the paint on him and he looks wonderful. Knuckles has great paint too, but just not as much. It's a nice color he has. The shoes are really good. This little chest thing has a nice gradient to it, and even these bolts are cool. Not really as much applied, which kind of brings me to believe that Toad is going to take home the crown as far as paint goes. Please stop falling over. We'll get to that in a second. As far as accessories goes with these figures, we've seen this board before and it's pretty cool. Functions well. This ring, however, is too small for the figures. I want something big enough the figures can actually fit through without having to duck or anything like that. And this stand, I could be clear. I wish it was a clear stand because the ring actually stands up in the middle of the air. It doesn't need a stand. That's really weird. So I think the frying pan wins. Yeah, I love this frying pan a lot. Not just because I could use it with Toad, because I could use it with other figures as well. And it works great as a frying pan and looks wonderful. It's painted really well and also has a function with the character where you could put it in the backpack for storage. You can't do that with Knuckles with his figures. You know, having him pull a ring out behind his back is ridiculous. So the frying pan definitely wins in this case. As far as articulation goes, it's alright on Toad. This arm is kind of breaking off. This really doesn't really help me in any way with the figure. The backpack weighs him down all the time and he doesn't really want to stand as well as I could. Figures that don't stand on their own are not my thing. Knuckles, however, has perfect articulation and it's excellent. I love this guy so much, and even though his head can't really turn all that well, it still turns a little bit, which gives it a plus in my book. He has some wonderful stuff going on down to the shoes and everything and the arms. It's all really nicely done without any breakage like this arm seems to be having all the time. So I do think that Knuckles does win, even though Toad has the same problem as Tails. They should, have coffee or something probably. But yeah, Knuckles is truly awesome. I loved him in the film. So in this case, it is a tie between both parties. Knuckles and Toad are still pretty great figures. I would recommend picking them all up. They're great. Knuckles may not have the best accessories, but he does have the best articulation and some really great sculpting. The paint on him could be better though, I think, but I just love Knuckles all the same. He's awesome. And Toad is great too. Yeah, the sculpting may be a detriment to all the other categories, but I do find that he has at least had a good accessory and some good paint on him. They're both pretty good. Pick them both up. So it's at this point in the review where I'm like, I don't think I know who to pair up next, and these are the last figures, so here you go. It's Peach, Robotnik, and Supersonic. As far as sculpting goes for these figures, Peach is really nice. I love the dress. It's wonderfully done. We have some nice layering to it on the bottom. We also have some layering on the top, as well as the center is great too. That little brooch is awesome. She has some really great details on her. The hair, every little strand is well done. It's awesome and beautiful. It looks wonderful, and it looks like hair and not a block of cheese. Sure, the face is kind of a nightmare and looks weird, and the gloves look really good too. The crown is awesome. I want to give that to King Boo. There's also a little hole in the crown is nice. We have these nice little high heels they gave her. They even gave her high heels. It's amazing. Sure, they didn't give her the underskirt thing, but I'm fine with that, especially in these times. She looks wonderful and great. I'm very happy with the color blocking on her too. Sure, the face is kind of a nightmare, but the rest of her is incredibly solid for a somewhat static figure. Contrasting that with this block of cheese, Supersonic is just okay. It's Sonic with his hair up and he's blonde now. It's fine. It's just okay now, I guess. And Robotnik is a guy in a suit. The jumpsuit we've been seeing him wearing since the last film, at least film 1, film 2. He's wearing the same type of thing. It's kind of boring to me. He's a generic fellow. Doesn't really look much like Jim Carrey either that much. The face expression, sure, I guess. We have to really squint to get it. My winner for this is Peach as far as sculpt. As far as paint for these figures, I believe Peach wins again just because she has so much variety and some nice looking stuff to her. It's really well colored in and really well done. Contrasting with Robotnik, who doesn't really have his lines even colored in, especially back here. What is this? What is this, Jakks? Yeah, he has a little gold in his boots, but even that's not painted right. It's just weirdly done. There's some splotching on the back too. It's a mess. Yeah, I said it. And block of cheese once again. The shoes are actually really good though. I'm very surprised with how well they're painted. Oh, there's a little splotch over here. Nope, Well, yeah, Peach wins. Sorry, guys. Yeah, Peach wins twice in a row. As far as accessories goes, who do you think's gonna win? We have the Master Emerald here, as well as a Badnik, an egg Badnik looking thing, and a coffee cup versus a Paracel that just looks weird, I think. I don't know, it's not really that great. The heart's cute, and the colors are cute, but it's the Master Emerald, guys! It's awesome! I love this thing. This little egg Badnik is wonderful. It even has a function and accessory. You can move these in and around and up. Sure, I wish there could have been a light here, or some kind of indication of color there would be great, and the coffee cup is useful for multiple other figures that I have. So yeah, the Sonic category wins for this round. So as far as articulation goes, you're looking at the best and worst articulated figures in the Sonic movie line, at least. I do find that Jim Carrey has a lot of articulation. It's overly articulated though, but he has the most, so it kind of counts. It's, I think, really, ambitious, at least. Every time I look at this guy, I warm up to the articulation, and yeah, it's actually pretty good, I think. I may come around again and redo the ranking for him. I also find that Supersonic, well, pretty rubbery. His second go around for second production, they tweaked him and made him much better. He has some better stuff that just holds more, and it's a better figure overall. Now, going on to Peach. Yeah, just this, and then we have some swivel here, and it's just okay, I guess. It's just alright. Not even feet or anything. The feet can't even move. They could in the other figure, the other Peach, but not for this one. It's just okay. She's kind of a brick. But the other two are over-articulated, and I will give it to them, even though I'm not a fan of how they worked, or at least used to work. So, sorry, Peach. The boys win this round. And so once again, we end in a tie between Peach and Supersonic and Robotnik, giving each other a bow in reverence. I do find that these are nice figures, but they're more supporting characters rather than mains. I do find that Peach is great just standing there, as well as Supersonic just standing there, while Robotnik can do whatever weird Jim Carrey shenanigans he wants with his overly articulated body, and Sonic has an overly rubbery articulated body, and Peach has a very under-articulated body, and I find that they kind of complement each other and cancel each other out in a way. Peach has great paint and sculpt, while the rest have great articulation and accessories. Not to say don't get them, but to say you don't have to get them if you don't want to. They're more accessories for other characters rather than main characters themselves. Hello everyone, and thank you so much for watching so far. Make sure to click like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment. You can also click the bell icon for more creativity. Now let's get back to it. And finally, there have been weirder crack ships. Bowser versus the Sonic 3-pack of Party Sonic, Snow Sonic, and Baseball Sonic. Starting off with sculpt, this will be interesting. Bowser looks incredible. He has some really nice sculpting on him with this really nice sort of subtle hint of scales. I do wish they were a little bit more scaly as far as this goes. The texture of his shell looks really nice too, and this little thing works out pretty well. This piece over here we'll go over later on. These spikes on him are really great and not too sharp, just right. They're pretty good. I really love how he looks. His face is unmistakably Bowser also. His abdomen is huge, and his legs look really big and intimidatingly floppy. Yeah, that's pretty awesome as far as Bowser is. He looks great. Meanwhile, the three Sonics each have differing sculpts to them. I do find that Party Sonic is one of my favorites. The toga is great. I do like the little tie on here, and the glasses are great. The Snow Sonic has some really nice snow outfit going on to him with that little hat that Wendy from Gravity Falls wears. I'm not sure what it's called, and a big parka with some snow pants. That's really awesome. And Baseball Sonic kind of brings it home with the baseball glove that you can use for other figures, the baseball hat that looks really great, and the little chest plate that's really awesome, even though it is glued to him, I guess, in universe. So I do think while Bowser has some really great sculpt, it doesn't really have the oomph these do as well. These all have really nice details to them, whereas Bowser has some more subtleties to him. Don't get me wrong, Bowser's a really imposing figure, and yeah, it's 3 versus 1. Who do you think is going to win? But in this case, I do find that the sculpting goes to the Sonic 3-pack. As far as paint goes on these figures, I find that this Sonic has some good paint as far as the chain goes, and I don't think this is painted at all. It's just a piece that goes around, and that's basically it for the figure. Just one little paint application. There's some good paint on the chest as well as the face. I don't know if the eyes are colored in or not. It's hard to really tell or see, but it's pretty okay. The paint on this one isn't really in the lines in a lot of places as far as the little buckles here and the cap right over here. It's just kind of frustrating. They could have had it a little bit better, and it would have been a better figure. This figure, there's doesn't have really that much paint at all. At least the face is good, but it's just Sonic that we've seen before. Bowser has some gradient on him. He has some nice paint on the eyebrows and face. His teeth are painted really well. The shell is painted excellently. It's awesome, and the gradient even goes down to his tail, which is a great touch. So Bowser wins on paint. Yeah, never thought I'd say Bowser wins for anything. At least not Mario paint, which if you wanted that, no one would really care anyways. As far as accessories goes for these figures, they don't really come with any. You could have had accessories for these Sonics and Bowser. You could have fire breath for him. You could have some kind of popcorn bowl for Party Sonic, a snowball for Snow Sonic, or even a bat for Baseball Sonic that they actually gave him and he looks pretty nice with. But Bowser does come with a function. His mouth can light up and he can breathe fog, at least, which is pretty cool. It's a nice little function that works really well for the figure. I don't think I'll use it all that much, seeing as it is a little tedious to get the water in there, the batteries, and then get all the fog out and take out the batteries when you're done, but it's at least appreciated and looks really cool with the figure. Here's a quick clip of it from a previous review I made, and looking at his mouth, it actually lights up, which is pretty cool. You can see the fog come out really nicely on this towel over here. Isn't that awesome? That's so cool that they put this function in, so Bowser definitely wins in this case. As far as articulation goes for these figures, the Sonic figures aren't that bad. We do have some nice sort of like swivel going up and down with the figures. The same as Sonic. They're pretty good as far as articulation goes. My problem is the arms don't really want to go in that much. I'm not sure if that's a problem with the sculpt or articulation, but I'm definitely going to put it under the articulation category, seeing as it makes his arms go out and they won't articulate in. So that's a shame for this figure. He looks great otherwise. Now, Snow Sonic, we know my gripes with this guy. It's, yeah, kind of crummy, but it looks like he's in snow. It has that kind of limited mobility you'd have when you're covered in gear, so it's kind of funny. It's pretty okay articulation at best, though. Not really that great. And this Sonic is, you know, the best of the three, I think. He does have that kind of outy thing with his arms again, and he comes with a nice little glove that works out pretty well, you know, to catch something, an accessory maybe that he could have come with, but he still, you know, works out pretty well as far as Sonic goes. He's pretty much on par with the other Sonics, which doesn't make him better or worse than them. Meanwhile, Bowser has a bunch of great stuff going on with him that just trashes the other three figures and makes him amazing. Sure, he's in a pretty permanent crouch because of his weight, but you can at least move his legs out to make him look like he's stomping and moving around. That works really well. He does only have swivels for his arms and hands, but really, you don't need much when you're going to grab something and destroy it, you know? For the figure, it works out really well, and for the character, it works really well too. He can be expressive and angry and grumpy and very grabby at a lot of times with this figure a lot. You can even move the shell so it comes off a little bit or down to just as a little extra articulation point. And he does come with some articulation in the tail, which works out very nicely as well. Swatting, you know, good guys left and right, toads everywhere. Yeah, it's a mess. He does not articulate his head, but I think that owes to the placement of his, you know, hair at least. Actually, you know what? I think it could work in that capacity. Could have worked, but I do think it comes down to the function. You don't want those wires snapping in the middle of the figure. Then you have to go inside and root around and fix the wires, and that much DIY with the hair and head moving around would be kind of a mess. So it makes sense with that as well. And it doesn't make sense that these figures can't even put their arms down. So Bowser wins in this category. Bowser deservedly wins in this category. He looks amazing. He's huge, imposing, and sure, in a 3 versus 1 fight like this, he'd win. No, he would definitely win. But I do find that the 3 Sonics from the movie have their merits. They're all interesting pieces from the film that bring joy, nostalgia, and great emotion to me. They're all really nicely done, and yes, even though Bowser wins by a super huge landslide, still do not discount those 3 figures. They're awesome and probably discounted at stores by now. Overalls, the decisive final battle between the Mario movie figures and the Sonic movie figures has been won by a mustache hair. The Mario figures have a very specialized quality, I believe. They're very detailed, very handcrafted looking. They have a lot of seams on them and a lot of nice bobs and bits, and are very crafted to look like statues almost in a way. They have choice articulation for the figures, 1 accessory or so, very nice paint that's minimal, and wonderful sculpts that look just like they came out from the movie. They are more statues than toys. Contrasting this with these Sonic figures that look more like toys and figures that have very good articulation for posing and play, as well as the quality of the plastic and paint to match. They do have a lot of accessories also, making them fun to play with, as opposed to the more statuesque Mario figures. Don't get me wrong, both of these lines are equally great to buy, but if you want to specialize in a statue and something that looks really good, go for Mario. If you want to specialize in a toy that'd be fun to play with, go for Sonic. But all of these differences aside, I have to say that Jakks Pacific has put out some of the best figures in recent times that they probably ever will. These are all fantastic, and I highly recommend you pick up at least a few for your collection. After all, we are all fans of Plumber and Hedgehog alike. Thank you so much for watching Jesse Hecht Creative. Feel free to click like, subscribe, share, or leave a comment. You can also visit us at jessehechtcreative.com, where you'll find more reviews like this one. Thanks again for watching and keep being creative. Stay tuned.